Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and in this video I'm gonna be showing you all the removed blocks and items for Minecraft Java Edition. So in this video I will show you every single block and item that was added once to a version of Java but has later been removed. I've put a lot of effort into this video, so I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like and consider subscribing. And if you want to see a video like this for Bedrock Edition, then let's say 100 likes for me to do that, so we have a goal we can try to reach. But now, without any further ado, let's just get into all the removed blocks and items. So we're on Minecraft Classic version 0.23A01, or actually this is the 10-year anniversary of Minecraft Classic that they released for the 10th anniversary of Minecraft. But here we can see all the colors of cloth that were added in Classic. So this is different from wool, and as you can see they also have different colors than wool. There will be a comparison on the screen right now, so you can see the difference between the wool and the cloth. So there's these 16 colors of cloth that were added in Classic, and in the InDev version all of these were removed except for the white one all the way over to the right. But in Beta 1.8 all of the colored wool was re-added, but with the different colors. So that's not the colors we know today, because they were slightly changed in the 1.12 update of Minecraft. But these over here are actually other blocks, so they just changed the color then. But these are actually cloth blocks and not wool blocks, so they were removed from Minecraft in the InDev version. So next is the horse saddle. So we're in Minecraft snapshot 13W16A, so that's a snapshot for 1.6.1, and in this snapshot they added the horse saddle, which I have in my hand right here. It works the same as the saddles we have today. So if you just get a horse and tame it, there we go, we tame the horse. There we go, we can just right click it with the saddle, and there we go, it gets the saddle on its back, and then we can ride the horse ourselves. So it's just like the normal saddles we have in Minecraft today. And you're actually able to craft these by using 5 leather like this, and then adding 3 iron beneath it, and there we go, you craft the horse saddle. And you could of course also use these on pigs. And if I ask you to how many they would stack, you would probably say 64 or 16. But if we get a stack of these, no, they stack to 32. Yes, very strange indeed. So they removed these horse saddles in Minecraft snapshot 13W18A, just 2 snapshots after they were introduced. And they added the normal saddles in 13W18A as well. Next up we have the studded armor, which was added in InDev 0.31. So this was a set of armor that didn't have any armor health, and it was eventually removed just a couple of updates later. And the armor actually came from one of Notch his unfinished games, Legend of the Chambered, along with some other armor sprites. So the armor slots were actually not even added into the game yet when these were added. They were just shown as sprites in your inventory, and we've never seen this studded armor since then. Infinite lava and water sources were added in Minecraft InDev 0.31. They were full blocks, unlike the normal water and lava, and they could create infinite sources of water and lava, as their names would suggest. So the infinite water block was removed when they added the spawner block, and the infinite lava source was removed when they added the wooden stairs. And the infinite lava block could actually be found in the InDev house, a picture of which is on the screen right now, and it would stack up to 99 or 100. And these blocks were removed because putting 2 next to each other would actually create a lot of problems and glitches, and so they were later replaced by the infinite water sources we know today. Next up we have the locked chest, added in Minecraft Beta 1.4, which is the version we're in right now. So this is the locked chest. It can spawn randomly in any chunk over here in the world. So the locked chest use the chest model of course, but when you right click it, you will see this menu pop up, Steve Co. Supply Crate. You need a Steve Co. Supply Crate key to open this. You can pick one up at the Minecraft store. So this was an April Fool's joke, of course. And if you clicked go to store, you would go to a page where you could buy all these fake things. You couldn't really buy them, but there we go. There were 12 items available. But if you click the proceed to checkout button, there would be a Velociraptor from the movie Jurassic Park making a loud noise and flying across the screen. And if you added more than $10,000 to your cart, then there would be a window asking if you are prone to seizures. And if you clicked OK, the screen would start flashing like crazy. And so the day after April Fool's, there was actually an April Fool's banner added to the site, along with, yes, a Rickroll. But now if you click go to store, you will go to the site where you can buy Minecraft on minecraft.net. And if we place two of these chests next to each other, they will create a normal double chest, but on the top there's of course this line in between, and it will still work the same. So the namespace ID of this block is chest locked April Fool's super old legacy. We should even have this, a very long namespace ID. And that was also a way you could get this in later versions of Minecraft. So in the version after this, locked chests wouldn't be able to spawn naturally anymore, but they weren't removed from the game entirely. Because in snapshot 12W21A, the texture was actually changed to a purple block, which I can't show you because I can't go into that version of Minecraft sadly. And in the snapshot after that, it was changed again because the block of emerald was added, but I can show you that, so here we go. So here we are in Minecraft version 1.4. And if we give ourselves a locked chest, there we go, we have a locked chest. As you can see, it looks very strange. So it's this purple block with the emerald block texture on top. So this emerald block texture comes from the fact that the emerald block was added in a previous version, and it also changed the texture of the locked chest. And it was changed again in snapshot 13W01A, which I can't show you since we can't load that in the launcher sadly. But what I can show you is the texture of this block in snapshot 13W03A. Which is once again for version 1.5. So here we are in Minecraft snapshot 13W16A. It's the closest I can get to the snapshot this block was added, or the texture was changed. And as you can see, it says missing texture twice on each side of the block. And you can't right click it anymore. That also doesn't work in the previous versions, only in the version where it was added. But this texture also changed once again, so the block was still in the game, you can still get it, like this, and there we go, then you have it in your inventory, the locked chest with the missing texture block. It still gives off light, which the original locked chest also did, and if you place two next to each other, there's nothing special that happens. So the textures changed once again in snapshot 13W18A, a snapshot for 1.6.1, and I'll show you that now. We're loading up the world in 13W18A, and you might have expected to see this. Yes, it's the missing texture block we all know and love from Minecraft now. So this is the last texture it got, and after this it has been removed from Minecraft in snapshot 13W37A, snapshot for 1.7.2. You could still place it with the set block command, but that was also removed in snapshot 13W41A, and that's the final thing we know from the locked chest. Next we have the powered comparator, which was added in snapshot 13W01A for Minecraft version 1.5. And so then they used two different blocks for the comparator, one unpowered and one powered. So the powered comparator is the one that has been removed because they just used the normal comparator with two different block states. And they removed the powered comparator in snapshot 13W05A, but it was still left in the game. They were just not using it anymore, and it was completely removed in snapshot 17W47A for 1.13. And so these had IDs 149 and 150. And you could update this powered comparator by placing a block next to it, and it would unpower immediately. So we're in snapshot 18W09A for the dead coral block, or the generic dead coral block. So coral was added in this snapshot, and as you can see, it looks way different than it looks today. So these textures of the normal coral were just changed, but this block over here has been completely replaced with the 5 types of dead coral. So this is just dead coral in general, and it also has a different texture. So in 18W10A, these textures were changed, and in 18W10B, this block was replaced with just the dead variants of these blocks. Roses were introduced in Classic Edition 0.20a, so it's been in the game for a very long time, but in Snapshot 13W36a for Minecraft 1.7.2, the roses were renamed to poppies, so this is a rose, and in that snapshot they were renamed to poppies, and the texture actually changed as well. So roses serve the same purpose as poppies do today, and roses were actually used for the decoration blocks as the main indicator. So roses would be turned into 2 rose red, and they would also be held by iron golems, as well as dropped by iron golems if iron golems were to be killed, as can be seen here. Here are 3 6-sided blocks no longer in the game. First of all, we have the hay bale, which was added in 13W16a, a snapshot for 1.6.1. And you could get the 6-sided hay bale by using the setBlock command, with the data value being 12. So this would be the command to get the 6-sided hay block, and then you get the 6-sided hay block. It was removed in snapshot 14W17a for 1.8. Then moving on to the 6-sided normal and sticky pistons. They were added in beta 1.7. If you try to power these, nothing happens. So they're only decorative blocks, and I'm really sad that these are gone because they look pretty nice. And so they were removed in snapshot 14W17a for Minecraft 1.8. So before that you could get the 6-sided normal piston with this command. There we go. And the sticky piston like this with this command. And then I just wanted to show you something crazy with the data values you could do before they removed them in 1.8. So if you used this command, then you would summon in a melon stem, but it would look like this with a netherrack texture at the bottom. Very, very strange, and it also has a weird color. Same thing happens for the pumpkin stem, which has 104 over here, and it actually pops off immediately. So let's try it again. There we go. You see a pumpkin top texture around it and the same stem texture at the top. Another strange one is the tall grass one, which can be gotten like this. And we know it's tall grass because it says it over here. But this is definitely not tall grass. This is definitely a dead bush with a weird color. And then the final one, which might be the weirdest, is the cake with data value 15. So let's get that here. And yes, it has a diamond block top, cake sides, a broken texture on these both sides, and at the bottom there is like some sort of greenery, carrots or something texture. It's just very strange, and actually the diamond texture disappears after a while, and these textures can then not be seen anymore from any side. And if you try to eat this cake, it just totally disappears. In snapshot 13W38b for 1.7.2, there were a couple of bugs, and that caused villagers to drop air. Yes, air. I have air in my inventory. You can't place it down, and the same thing also happened to large slimes. So when they were killed, they would drop air as well. So it's these slimes that would drop air, the middle slimes, and they wouldn't even drop it like all the time, just sometimes. And you can't place it down, as I said, and yeah, you can't actually see it if I press F5. You will see that I'm holding nothing. And so this is the only time air could be obtained in your inventory, and it was removed in the snapshot after this. So in Minecraft Snapshot 13W37a for 1.7.2, the /give command was changed, and because of this a lot of items were made unavailable. So I'll show you all the items that you couldn't get in your inventory anymore after 1.7.2. So I have a couple of them in my hotbar, the rest is in my inventory over here, and we'll go through all of them very quickly. So first of all, we have the bed. It's just the bottom side of the bed, as you can see. And you could get this with the give command like this, with 26. I'll just name the numbers for the upcoming blocks, and then you can know how to get them in the previous versions of Minecraft. So 26 would give you the bed. Then we have the piston head. It actually doesn't have a name, like a lot of these blocks, and if you place it down, you can't actually do that in here, because it's the piston head, which is not actually a block. And the ID for piston head is 34. Then the piston extension is the actual extension of the piston. So once again, you can't place the piston extension down. The ID for piston extension is 36. Next up, we have some redstone dust. It's actually called redstone wire if you try to give it to yourself. ID 55. And if you place it, it just turns into normal redstone dust. As you can see, it just has a weird texture in your inventory with this white texture. Next we have wheat, or crops as it's called in our inventory. It has ID 59 and you can't place it down on grass. But if you just hoe some land, we can place the crops on here. So it just functions like seeds, but it has a different texture in your inventory. Next up is the standing sign, ID 63. And it's just a standing sign. So you don't get the option to actually type in anything you want to put on the sign, but it just places it down automatically. Then we have the wooden door. Of course, this is also in the game. If you search wooden door, you will get this wooden door, but this one has a different texture and it's actually only the bottom of the wooden door and you can't actually see it. You only see the outline of the texture. It has ID 64 and if you break it, you will see the wood particles. Next we have another sign. It's the wall sign with ID 68. If you place it down, as you can see, it's just like the standing sign, but then a sign placed on the wall and you see a big hitbox around it. Then similar to the wooden door, we also have the iron door, of course. Once again, you can't only see the outline. Its ID is 71 and if you break it, you see the iron particles. Next is the lit redstone ore. As you can see, once you place it down, it will immediately start emitting particles. It had ID 74. Then we have the unlit redstone torch. So it's unlit when you place it down and you can light it by, of course, giving it an update. Like this, just the block update works fine. Let's try it again. There we go, block update. And so the unlit torch has ID 75. Then we have sugarcane, but just with a different texture in your inventory. So you can still place it down like normal next to the water. And you can't actually see a difference with the normal sugarcane, which of course, as we know, has this texture in your inventory. Its ID was 83. Next up we have cake. Once again, just a difference in the texture in your inventory. The normal texture looks like this. And the ID for this one is 92. Then just like earlier we had the powered and unpowered comparator, here we also have the powered and unpowered repeater. ID is 93 and 94 and they just work like you think they would, but they just have a different texture in your inventory. Then we also have the pumpkin and melon stems we already saw when we looked at the 6-sided blocks. Once again, you'll need some farmland to place these. There we go, it just works like normal. And they have IDs 104 and 105. Then another one that just has a different texture in your inventory, it's the nether wart block, ID 115, and its normal texture is of course this one. Same thing happens for the brewing stand with ID 117, where this is the normal texture and this is the texture of the removed block. And again for the cauldron with ID 118, places a normal cauldron but has a different texture in your inventory to the one that is actually used. Then we also have the lit redstone lamp, similar to the unlit redstone torch. It automatically lights up when you place it, but then immediately realizes that it shouldn't be powered and then depowers. Its ID was 124. They have a tripwire, which is actually a bit strange, because normally it's of course string you place down and it turns into a tripwire, like this. But you could actually have tripwire in your inventory and place it normally. It had ID 132, but as you can see it works just the same as normal string. The flower pot also had a different texture with ID 140 and once again just in your inventory. And then we have the last one that was removed in 1.7.2. It's the skull block with ID 144. Now of course it's still in the game, but this is a strange skull block because if we grab a normal skull, so for example skeleton skull, this one actually doesn't have a name, and place down a skeleton skull, as you can see it just faces which way you are facing. But if we place down this skull, then you will see it always faces like this. Whatever you do, it will always be against the wall. And so those were the blocks that were removed in 1.7.2. So in Minecraft Snapshot 14W25A for Minecraft 1.8, changes were made to the way that icons of items were rendered and the way block data was represented. And because of this, 12 more blocks were made unavailable. Of course, they can still be found in the game itself, but you can't have them in your inventory anymore. So like with the previous blocks that were removed in 1.7.2, we'll just go over them quickly. First, we have two types of water. We have flowing water. As you can see, it immediately starts flowing when you place it. It had ID 8 and it actually created a water source block in the middle. Then we have water with ID 9, which is just a block of water that doesn't flow automatically, but once it's updated, it will start flowing. Same we have with lava with ID 10, first flowing lava, it immediately starts flowing, as you can see, and with ID 11, still lava, which doesn't immediately start flowing, but does once you give it an update. Then we have the double stone slab, which you can of course get by just placing 2 stone slabs on top of each other. But here you could actually get a block that has both of them automatically. And of course, if you break this, you'll just get your 2 stone slabs back. As you can see here, the double slab block had ID 43. Then we have fire ID 51. And of course, this could be used to craft the chain armor, as you can see here. And it functions just like a flint and steel would these days. Next is the nether portal block. It has ID 90, and if you place it down as expected, you will place down a nether portal. There's no bottom or top textures, and of course you can go through the nether by walking in this. There we go, it will actually generate a nether portal on the other side. Then if we have a nether portal, we of course also have an end portal, but this texture actually uses the texture of the nether portal. It had ID 119, and if you place it down, of course, you get the end portal, which will bring you to the end. Then just like we had the double stone slab, we also have the double wooden slab. It just looks like a normal wood block, but if we hover over it with our mouse, it says oak wood slab, and if we try to break it in survival, as you can see, it will drop 2 wooden slabs. And it had ID 125. Then we have cocoa beans, but not in the normal way. As you can see, it has a different texture to what it should have. Of course, this is the texture we all know. And we can of course place down on jungle logs. Same thing happens with cacao. There's just no difference. It had ID 127 and it's only the texture that's different. And the name. And then we have 2 more farming blocks. It's the potatoes and carrots. ID for the carrots is 141 and potatoes 142. And once again, you will need farmland to actually place these, and they will work just like normal carrots and normal potatoes. They just once again have a different texture in your inventory. And those were all the blocks that were removed in Minecraft 1.8. Okay, so here we have the very last block of the day. This is the lit furnace. It was removed in snapshot 15W49A for Minecraft 1.9. And as you can see, this lit furnace is a bit strange in my hand because it doesn't actually have the lit furnace texture on any of its sides. But if we place it down, you will see that it actually does have the lit furnace texture at the front, even though it's not smelting anything. So of course you can still get this block by putting some fuel and some items in the furnace, but here there's no items and you still have the block, and I have it in my inventory as well, just called furnace. If you place it down, it becomes a real furnace. It had ID 62, so you could get it like this, and it was removed, as I said, in 1.9. But there we go, those were all the removed blocks and items in Minecraft Java Edition. If you like this video, then please make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. If this video does well, I might also do a version for Bedrock Edition. But there we go, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope to see you in my next one. So until then, bye bye!